Hey folks, this is Jadius,
And this is Bayes.
and we're in the Wood League, and so are you. And today we've got a good game between Dimaga, the red Zerg, and Huk, the green Protoss. And Huk looking pretty unbeatable these days, so I'm excited to see if Dimaga can take him out today.
Yeah, real quick question for you today, Jadius.
Shoot.
What do you think of the new patch changes?
As a Terran player, I'm a little worried about how it's going to affect me. I'm already such a noob that any detraction from my abilities is a little scary. But if it makes the matchups easier, if Terran was in fact OP or slightly unbalanced, then I'm all for it. I'm all for the balance of the game and for great competition.
Yeah, it's too bad you weren't using those bunker rushes that have been nerfed as well, or Reaper rushes to their full ability. I always find that with patches, I realize too late, what was a powerful strategy, like what would have worked, what would have got me wins, past the fact.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of people talking about how Reapers plus Bunkers against Zerg was really, really powerful, and the Zerg were having a really, really hard time dealing with it. And I just never really caught on. I'd heard about it a few times, and I never really put it into my game plan. And now I'm kicking myself, as you say. So that's too bad. It's in the past, but yeah, I'm excited to see where the future goes and maybe what future changes come about because of this. But right now, Huck doing a cheeky little scout with his probe, fully loaded up with minerals, so he doesn't seem to care about his
Yep.
minerals.
Bring in a nice donation of minerals over to Dimaga's base, and he's going to now realize that Dimaga is going for a very, very fast expand. Expand before spawning pool, actually.
Yeah, right before spawning pool. Spawning pool was in fact the next thing he started building at about 12 supply, now up to 14, but about an 11-12 expansion spawning pool for Dimaga, pretty fast. But in the meantime, Huck chrono boosting out a zealot now and getting a second gateway up and running. And these zealots these gateway units are going to be queued right to this expansion. So Huck going to put the pressure on right away here.
Yeah, and Damaga's not going to have much defense because he went for this very fast expand. But if he is able to defend, he'll have a much stronger economy. So let's see what happens here. First Zealot now showing up at Huck's base, and it's going to likely begin attacking this hatchery. Yep, that was one of two possibilities. He could have also gone straight into the main, but six Zerglings coming out here, so it looks like attacking the hatchery is the right choice at this time.
Yeah, hatchery looks like it's going to finish and probably stay up. Eight Zerglings now being mutated, a queen being put up to bolster the original hatchery. Now going to bring his Zerglings along with a few workers and try to push back these zealots and save this early expansion. And of course, like you said, Bass, get the early economic advantage.
Yeah, I like the usage of these workers coming in here to really scare these zealots off because the six Zerglings he has on the field, now 10 Zerglings, are not quite enough to fend off four zealots. But with the addition of the drones, he does have a big enough army.
Zealots continuing to be pushed out of these gateways and at a very, very high rate here, just being queued straight to Dimaga's base, and there's no joking around here for Huck. He's telling Dimaga exactly what he intends, and that's to destroy him quick and easily with these zealots. Two queens now coming out almost simultaneously. The first queen had to waddle her way over to the ramp very, very slowly. Of course, queens very, very slow off the creep, but their combination seems to be working out here against these zealots.
Yeah, queens are a good option early game for Zerg as a ranged unit. No need to build that roach warren or anything like that. If you've got some queens coming out, if you don't have much Vespine, if you're going for the fast expand strategy, queens are a good thing to have behind your meat shield, just poking away at those zealots with their large amounts of damage. Dimaga is now pushing back. Huck is running away with his final zealot, and with some good micro, he will survive.
Yeah, that zealot will survive miraculously to fight another day. Oh, no, it's going to get burned down right now as a Zergling manages to poke its head in and get that weak zealot. Dimaga actually having seen everything that's going on here at the front of the ramp for Huck, having that Overlord there very, very, very early game. Huck sticking with zealots right now, sticking with the zealot pump. Do you agree with this, Bayes?
I do. I mean, I like I like the constant aggression. What I don't like about the strategy is that Huck doesn't really know what's going on in Dimaga's main base. He's been attacking the front, but he hasn't made it into the back Dimaga could be rushing to air, or he could be doing other things, and Huk wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, right now it seems like both players sticking with the same strategy, but Dimaga getting that mineral advantage. Not quite yet. Few workers going down to that early push, so his worker count still a bit behind, but he should be able to catch up quickly with this second hatchery. Still pumping out Zerglings at the moment. Let's see if anything's changed. Spinecrawler on the way at the expansion base here. Zerglings and a sentry now going out, coming out here for Huk.
Looks like the spine crawler will be quickly burned down, but the sheer amount of Zerglings is going to overwhelm this Zealot force.
I definitely like the thinking here from Huk. Maybe he can try to cut off the two halves of Dimaga's forces from his main base to his first expansion via that ramp, and really use Dimaga's layout of his base against him. Dimaga will now know that the sentry is out, however, as it is attacking his overlord. But these Zerglings might be able to poke right into Huk's base right now if they can get this zealot down. Yes, they will. They're going to start streaming in, and Huk's in a bit of trouble right now.
Yep, a couple zealots still on the way. One more is going to pop out momentarily and take down the remaining Zergling left in his base. But the game is pretty even right now as far as armies are concerned, and Huk has got to be concerned that Dimaga is now far ahead of him in income. 1,000 over 750 approximately right now in mineral income, but Huk is slightly ahead on Vespine. Let's see if he can make use of that to his advantage.
Looks like Huk finally bringing in some stalkers, going to try to bounce around and maybe kite the Zerglings as much as he can for the time being until he can kind of catch up in the economy, catch up in the game momentum. Huk still being very aggressive, even though the advantage is definitely with Dimaga as far as entrenchment, as far as income is concerned. And I like seeing that from players. I like seeing that that aggression rather than a tendency to kind of turtle or be worried about what your opponent could be cooking up with all those extra minerals.
Yeah, Huk is doing a great job of keeping tabs on his opponent, constantly just poking at the front of his base. You know, if Huk has some hidden air in the back that he's going to bring, or I mean, if Dimaga has some hidden units in the back, he would be forced to bring them out to the front to help defend his base. But now with those spine crawlers out front, Huk is going to be more reluctant to move in.
Yeah, it looks like nothing totally out of the ordinary yet from Dimaga. Still going for Zerglings, now upgrading those Zerglings with the metabolic boost. Gonna speed up these Zerglings, make some speedlings. Has 3 queens down at his natural expansion, 1 at his main, and sticking with with a similar plan, I suppose, until he feels he has enough economy to make a transition.
Yeah, Dimaga has a whole lot of queens out on the board right now. 4 queens, and this is a very late game metabolic boost for Dimaga to be getting. But his income is very sound, and on the other hand, I really don't like his unit mix at this point. It's just, well, I guess he's just using those queens, you know? It's just something that I normally wouldn't think of. Queens and spine crawlers and Zerglings only.
Yeah, absolutely, very interesting. Not spending much minerals on his army at the moment, kind of shoring up those 2 expansions, getting a real good advantage as far as worker count, but now taking his Zerglings and going to Huk's base, and this might have been a mistake.
Yeah, he had a very strong defensive setup at his base, and these Zerglings are just getting shredded. It seems like Dimaga just threw away all the defense he had. He still has a couple queens here and a couple spine crawlers, but without that backup of 50 Zerglings, it's not quite as much.
Now upgrading Zerg missile attacks, ranged attacks, without having any ranged units other than the 4 queens out on the board. It's a little interesting to be spending that much minerals on that upgrade without possibly going to Hydras or something like that. Depending on these queens, a great deal, but wasting that many Zerglings in that little encounter over at Huk's base was a questionable strategy.
Dimaga's making tons of Hydralisks right now, 7 in production, and soon to be more, no doubt.